Well, welcome back to Riverbend Zoo, everyone. Hope you all are having a wonderful day so far. My name is Leaf, and it's so great to welcome you guys back to the channel. Now, today we have a little bit of a smaller habitat, nothing really too crazy this time around. We're going from one of the biggest animals in the game to a relatively smaller one. So today we will be covering the red fox. As far as I'm aware, we don't have them in Riverbend yet, so I really wanted to build for them. So we had this beautiful little, North American area over here, and I had this small area for a habitat, so I figured, you know what, I just want to throw something in here. And I thought a red fox would be a cute idea to build for, so I haven't built for these guys in quite some time. I think the last time I actually built for them was in ZSU, and that really wasn't my favorite habitat. So I really wanted to kind of give myself a little bit more of a redemption. I'm going to spit out my mint right now, because it's impeding my speech. Oh my gosh. But anyways, I really want to build for red fox, and what I'm starting off doing right here is doing a climb proof frame. When you do build realistically for animals kind of like red fox who can climb a lot of stuff very well, you always got to make sure that you take all the precautions in order to keep them inside of the habitat. Always make sure to have climb proof fences for, very versatile canines, kind of like foxes and wolves, as well as primates and cats and stuff. Cats are big, you don't want those to get out at all. But we're kind of working on all that stuff over here. And while doing that, we kind of outline the general shape of the habitat. So I am pretty happy with it. It feels very nice, very organic. It's kind of like baked into the hillside. And I really like it because of that. It feels very nice and very natural, very secluded as well. Have I said very enough yet? I'm not really sure. But making our way throughout here and adding a few more rocks just to help it feel a little bit more built into a hillside, makes it feel like it's a little bit more chiseled. So we kind of work with that a little bit more, and it really does help us give a nice sense of scale as to how the foxes would react to this habitat. And it felt a little bit too big for them, so I do kind of break it up a little bit by adding a small pool in the middle. Nothing really too intense, it's just going to be a nice natural pool. But before we even get there, I'm doing a little bit of rock borders. In case if you guys aren't aware, I love my borders on my paths, especially custom ones. So we kind of work throughout here, and it's pretty nice. Especially in the North America section, I just use the cladding pieces to outline the paths, and it looks very nice, very clean. I really do like the style of it, because it really does help you feel like, you're on a night. Ooh, nice little natural hike. And yeah, that's about it. So we kind of double down on that a little bit more and connect that back up to the main path over here. And it looks pretty good. I don't know, I'm very satisfied with how well that was able to come out. And then we can get to work on a little bit more extra theming. So I really want to have this feel like it's a nice kind of picturesque kind of look inside a nice little fox habitat. So we kind of have this come into play with a nice little fallen log and stuff like that. Pretty happy with how well it looks in the end. And yeah, it's just a nice little background piece. Admittedly, it takes a little bit more distraction away from the actual animals in question because they are relatively small. I do keep on forgetting that. I keep on building habitats. They're sometimes just a little bit too big. Or sometimes habitats are a little bit too small, like the elephants, but that's supposed to be like that. So what I'm working with over here is working on our little bit of a pond and trying to get the rest of the main decorations going all throughout the habitat. So I have the arrowwood bushes come into play, and I use some of these hawthorn bushes, I think, or the blackthorns. I genuinely forget. But making our way throughout here and adding some rock work as well, I really want to hammer down on the natural emphasis of this habitat, very much in line with the rest of the North America section. So we do work a lot more with the temperate rocks, and it has this beautiful little effect. I really do like how it looks. So we kind of make our way throughout here and start adding some stuff like that, and we start to determine where dead areas are, especially in habitats like this. I tend to love to make dead areas, and I don't think I've really talked about this before, but I kind of make these dead areas that feel the foliage kind of grows a little bit thicker in these areas. And that's where I would throw bushes, maybe even some trees and stuff like that. And I also do it at the edges of the habitat to help it feel like it's a little bit more foliaged, planted, a little bit more planted than it actually is. It really does help to frame this idea that you're inside the middle of a clearing and stuff like that. I don't know, I really do like it. But essentially making our way throughout here and adding some more grass. Very happy with how well this came out. I don't know, I just really like it, especially with the periwinkle grass. It really does help to bring out a lot more highlights and like shadows into builds that I feel like a lot of like, you know, normal builds kind of lack. And I think it really does help, especially in cases like this, to really help frame it a little bit better. And also doing some external foliage work as well. We have some big oak trees to kind of make up for, like, you know, a little bit more foliage top back there. And we also use the dren grass as well. I really wasn't expecting to use it, but it does have some nice darker qualities I feel like really do help to spruce up the habitat. And I also use some of the fairy flowers as well. I felt like this could have used a little bit more color. So we kind of have these all kind of sparse all throughout the habitat, and it looks very adorable. I don't know, it just looks very cute for a fox habitat. And also I wanted to give them some enrichment, so we do a little bit of that. I give them a feeder and a couple boxes for them to play with. I wish they had more enrichment, but unfortunately they really don't. Maybe I could go back and give them some, like, you know, enrichment that they really can't use, just as a way to give them just, you know, a little bit more loving. What I also add over here is some double fencing, because obviously you guys can tell the guests could easily jump over that barrier. So I want to make sure that that does not happen. I really want to make sure that we kind of make our guests feel as safe as possible, especially our foxes. When guests get into habitats, there's a huge risk of like disease from humans. There's a huge risk of infections and even animals getting hurt. So we got to make sure that we don't only just protect our guests, but our animals as well. So we're kind of making our way throughout here, making some more detail work as possible. So we kind of have this be like a nice little rock wall. We have that other side kind of be like a nice little gravel ditch. Very happy and satisfied with how well that all came out. I don't know, I'm just very, very satisfied with this. It all feels and flows very nicely. So we do a little bit more foliage work as well, just to help it feel a little bit more secluded. And I really do like how well this North America trail is turning out. It feels like a mini sugar pine, and I love it for that. So we have a lot of pines all throughout here. We kind of add them in just a little bit. And we also start to add some trees and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much like all the main details with this. We add some signs as well. So we kind of steal some from throughout the park. So these are made by Lion. He even released an entirely new set, which I have not had the chance to really dabble with just yet. So I will do that relatively soon once I do get the chance. But for the time being, I'm just kind of sticking to my guns with the original ones. What I'm also doing is kind of copying over the larger swaths of plants, just to have it feel a little bit more organic, have it feel a little bit more kind of like, trying to find the right words here. I'm sorry, guys. Trying to have it feel a little bit more grown over. Overgrown, that's a word. You guys can tell it's like the end of the day for me. I'm just exhausted. But, no, I'm never exhausted for you guys. You guys are always great. But we're kind of working on a little bit more foliage all throughout here. We're working with some trees and some bushes. Just to have it feel a little bit more like a nature trek. I really wanted this area to be kind of secluded from the rest of the zoo too. Because you have like all this beautiful concrete and stuff, and it looks nice. It looks bright. But it's not really the vibe that I wanted throughout here. I love how you could turn those into fox statues, by the way. That is so cute. But I don't know, I just really like this section just because it feels so much quieter than the rest of the zoo. It feels so much less, I don't know, it just feels so much less obstructive, so much more less man-made. You guys can tell I'm doing great with my words today, just stringing together anything that comes to my mind. But we're essentially kind of working our way throughout here and adding a little bit more details where I see them fit. So we kind of do a little bit more of that. And I also wanted to give these guys a nice little background piece. So I bring in that shed that we built for the porcupine exhibit a while ago. And yeah, I don't know, I just really do like that. It feels very nice. So we kind of add a few windows over there just to help theme it a little bit more. And we kind of frame it a little bit more with the Arctic beams. I think it looks so nice. I don't know, it just feels like such a nice little hut in the woods. And yeah, just frames it relatively nicely, but that is about it. I think we're about to head into the B-roll. So, whoa. If feels like my throat is trying to attack me, so I think it is a perfect time for me to sign off. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are always gems. I hope you guys are appreciating like all the Riverbend content recently. Very fun to get back in here and build for it, and we have a few more habitats to just wrap up before we can go on our final tour of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Look at the little foxy, isn't he cute? Thank you guys so much for watching. Can't wait to see you all in the next video. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.